visit?
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl Patchy Dunn. I'm here representing for Highway 6 to Africa. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to be back. I want to shout out the Love Bay family right now. I'm here with my guest host, Ron Malinga. Ron, hey Ron, how are you?
Absolutely fine. Petra, how are you doing? Great to be on the show today.
Yeah, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you on. So I know that you have been periodically you've been featuring on the show. You're on last week for a really fruitful conversation about the impact of AI and Afrobeat music. And it was amazing, wasn't it?
Yes, we had an interesting conversation. I would say the most interesting part was off the air afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Our listeners don't even know. Like the conversation we had, usually our show's an hour on Highway 6 to Africa. However, we had a conversation for an hour and a half after the show about the same topic. It's that mind blowing. So we're definitely going to do another part 2, and also look out in the future. We'll also be planning a conference to be discussing, that same topic on a wider scale with more experts in the industry. So honestly, it's definitely an amazing topic. It definitely is our future now. It's the world we live in. So we need to embrace it. We need to look at it from both sides of the coin and see how it's going to really support us moving forward as a community, as an industry, Yeah, when you agree, Ron? Any
Absolutely. Yeah, our conversation last week was about AI and how that's influencing. And I really liked how TYB approached it. He took on the approach of the sort of the bads of it, and then he started wheeling over or narrowing into the goods of it, which I think, like everything almost in life, you're going to find the goods and the bads of it. And I think we did a pretty good job of that. I think it's an interesting topic, and it's so young right now in the industry that we really can't sum up what is going to happen. Though I did hear last week, or this week actually, I think there's something to do with the Beatles and AI coming out. I want to say it's called Now and Then. Somebody correct me on the title. Yeah, and it's something to do with AI and the Beatles, and it was interesting. I didn't get the whole story, but I'd love to hear what people have to say about that one and what's going on with that, because there was of course, once again, the goods and the bads of that as well. So it's interesting to see where it's going.
Yeah, well, I could definitely relate to that in relation to, I don't know if I think I mentioned this on air last week or maybe mentioned off air, but how they collaborated Ice Spice with Michael Jackson, and they had Michael Jackson's voice singing Ice Spice's song Munch, And to me, if you know about the content, the understanding of those lyrics, for me, I don't feel comfortable hearing Michael Jackson singing that song. You know what I mean? So to me, it was obviously for a young person in this generation that don't really understand the impact and the legacy of Michael Jackson and the impact he had on us and music, it's like for them, it's like, oh, Michael Jackson makes Ice Spice is fun because Ice Spice is like an icon in their generation. But I think music touches people in so many different ways, And I feel as long as the respect is maintained within the music, that will allow it to have continued longevity. But I feel just from as long as I've been around, looking at and listening to music. So I'm talking about looking at the visuals of the, obviously, like, the music videos and what have you, but also listening to the lyrical content, the production, what have you. I feel like the respect is just kind of oozing out of the music. You know what I mean? To the point where now we have young people, and I love the youth, but we have young people making all kinds of music with all kinds of derogatory content, speaking about it on all different types of levels, not understanding that that music is leaving a legacy to the other kids who are coming out, who are like 5 and 6 and 11 and 12, that hear this music. Like I remember hearing, I remember seeing like a bunch of 3-year-olds. I remember that song came out with Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I love the icons, but that song for me, I just never could really connect with it. You know what song I'm talking about? WAP or something, WAP or something like that. So yeah, WAP or whatever. I remember seeing a 3-year-old singing that song on social media, and I was horrified. That's an adult content song. That should not be heard by a 3-year-old, let alone for a 3-year-old to be repeating or regurgitating lyrical content of that manner. So then to me, it's like the respect has to be gone, because to me it's like, if you could allow your music to even touch children of that age range and don't care about its impact, that's crazy. I remember growing up and there's certain songs that were probably around when I was younger, but my mom never exposed me to them. You know, I have a child now and I'm very conscious of certain songs or certain things he'll see that will feed into his consciousness. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely feel free to jump in, Ron, because I can go off on a
Well,
tangent.
I can speak to this big time as a person who taught music and many other subjects for over 30 years. And I can speak to this and say that, personally, I think that when music has profanity, because I can imagine the Michael Jackson, I'll refer back to that, the Michael Jackson song, if there's profanity in it or any swearing in it, that wasn't Michael Jackson's style. That just was not what Michael Jackson would do.
That's so
He
true.
he would not release a song like that. Think about Billie Jean and the
I
likes of that.
know.
It's just that's not the kind of stuff that he would put out. So
Exactly.
I just think that it's not. I would almost be feeling like I've done something to him personally. And I know he would be probably looking down from the heavens and be going and shaking his head and thinking, come on, why are you doing this? Like, this is, if you're going to do this, at least don't make it sound like I'm somebody totally different than I am. And, when it comes to profanity and swearing in music, I say this time and time again. I tell this to all these singers that I work with. The one request that I have is that you do not sing. I mean, I shouldn't say the one, but the many I have, is that please do not be swearing in songs, because think about it this way. It's really simple. And this as a mother. I know this as a teacher. That number one, are you going to play that song for your children or your grandchildren one day if you start swearing all over it? Well, I don't know. And then I asked a fellow yesterday, same thing. I said, if you're going to work with me, one of the things that I want you to know is that I asked him, do you go to church? And he goes, yes, I do. I go, well, then would you play this song in your church if it had swearing? And he of course shook his head and said, absolutely not. I said to him, what's the point? Because then there's radio stations that aren't going to play it either.
It's true, exactly.
So why do you think like this? Or if you think like this, you're just not going to have many places playing your music. And many people and many parents that will say, cut that song off. No, take that off your list. You're not listening to that. So I think of this as the singers out there too. Come on, think some common sense into your writing. If you put swearing into it, you've already cut your audience in half, and you'll cut it down again with radio stations that'll just refuse to play it. I know that's where we're at, one of Canada's largest radio stations here will refuse to play that music if it has swearing in it. So, and I don't know if that's love-based policy either, but I'll tell you, it sure doesn't make your odds go well if you're going to do that. So, and there's so many other things you can talk about in better ways. Rather than using the F word, why don't you say, I'm going to love you instead of you? It's just things like that. I had a writer do that one time, and I thought, come on, why don't you just think of something nice, something we'd be proud of? So I could go on about this probably just as easily as you could, Petra. just from my years of teaching, then I could go into grammar if you want to do that, but that's totally dry topic.
That's okay. But no, I can totally relate to what you're saying in relation to like lyrical content, and I always wondered that too. It's like, I wonder what has led to the change in that direction. You know what I mean? Is it subconscious? Is it, because I don't want to say like, I don't really believe in conspiracy theories or anything of that matter, but I do believe in there being many different truths. You know what I mean? And I feel like we're living in a time where everything and everybody's woke. Woke is the term. But when I was growing up, when I was like being introduced to certain type of knowledge, it allowed me to be enlightened. So with that regard, it allowed me to look at society and see, okay, musically now, like music essentially, and I feel at its inception was there to aid us to be enlightened. Sometimes you can hear a song and that song will inspire you to make great works, or that song will inspire you to do something great, or you know what I'm saying, like you all see these amazing songs in soundtracks of movies, you know what I mean, like Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You, like certain songs amplify certain type and certain periods, you know what I'm saying? But then it's like when I look at music of now, like in 2023 versus like when I grew up, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna tell my age or nothing, but I've been around for a while, you know what I mean? But
Me too.
you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like I remember growing up and hearing songs, yeah, like I Will Always Love You, and the way that would impact me to this day. I can put on that song and it takes me to a whole other place. I feel the emphasis of real love, where the song that I listen to now, and because of its lyrical content, it's like, yeah, it has a catchy beat and the beat sounds good, but I'm not going to be playing that song maybe 10 or 20 years from now and feeling that same feeling. You know what I mean? And I feel that's what's missing from the music of today, And we do have a special guest coming on a little bit later, and I can't wait to talk about her new song, because she's one of those artists where I feel like when you put on her music, it reminds me of that music that I heard growing up in the 90s. You know what I mean? Like there's a new song. I'm just gonna give a little little peek. Or maybe you should wait, but a little peek. But her new song Ready. So all you guys out there listening, go search up Ready, see who it's by. But when I hear that new song, I'm like, wow, it's not even of this world. And that's the kind of music that I love. Music that I can listen to and I can escape my reality, and it will take me to an enlightened, a beautiful place. Like that's not anywhere like this. And great music has the ability and the power to do that, irregardless of the genre. You know what I mean? So feel free to.
Oh, absolutely. Petra, I can't disagree with anything you're saying, of course. I mean, you have a son, and you know that younger people, the music they're listening today, I know it from being a teacher as well. And that is that many, many times that I'd be listening to the music and I was just shaking my head. I was thinking, come on, can't you find something else better to be listening to that has something more to it? I take nothing away from some of the great artists that are out today. I take nothing away from them at all. I know I've already, you and I were slightly talking about this a bit last week. I know I have a good prediction as to who's going to be sitting up in the Grammys for this year as number one song. And if you listen to her song, I'll spill it out. It's just Flowers. It's by Miley Cyrus. And if you listen to that song, there isn't a swear word in it. Not a swear word in it. And I just think, good for you. But I also listen to that song and I go, yeah, but I can tell there's real musicians playing in this too. Yeah, that's a whole different story. However, I can just feel the musicians in this that are playing in it, and she's got a good song. Did it require her to swear? No. Maybe it's in her contract with Columbia that she can't swear in songs. I don't know. I have no idea what's in the contract today in that way, the fine details. But I thought, why not? There's another fellow I listen to a lot right now, and he's right up there in the top. I'd call it the top 10 pop artists. And there's a song he sings there's swearing. Not a single song that I have heard yet. And I say kudos to him, because when I know that he's I'll tell you, it's Charlie Puth. He's in Australia right now, and he's on tour. But he's shown many pictures on Instagram and the likes about where he's performing, and that the age group of these people is probably kids in their teens. And so I have a feeling I would be standing on stage and feeling really, I just swore in this song, I swore here, I swore there. I'd be thinking to myself, is that really, really necessary? Did I need to make this type of influence on them? And I even did a post on Instagram. I said, if you're a songwriter, are you going to be writing songs that you're going to be able to show and have your children and grandchildren listen to when they become, when they start listening to music. And 3 years old, as you mentioned, come on, they shouldn't be listening to music like that. There's so many great stuff out there. And it's strange how we've come from, say, the time that you grew up and I grew up to a time where so many songs today are filled with poor language. I just don't get that. I don't know. Maybe it's my age. I don't know. But why is it needed? There's my question.
Yeah, most definitely. So I totally agree, Ron. And again, you already know this is a conversation we could definitely continue for the entire show. I will definitely do it again. So thank you for your points on that, Ron. And I definitely want to be able to get to our special guest. And I do know that she's in the studio with us. Hey, Cathy, how are you? Hey, Cathy. Yeah, so people still having some technical difficulty. So I know she'll be joining us again very, very shortly. So Cathy, when you're available to join, definitely feel free just to jump in and we can get started with the interview. And we're really looking forward to interviewing with you, Cathy, because you have some amazing music. You have an amazing new single out right now we're talking about. We're so excited to hear about what inspired you to write such an amazing song. Your collaboration with Killer Keys on the track. Yeah, we're really excited. Can't wait to hear all about that. So yeah, we'll definitely keep it locked to that as well. So right now you guys are tuning in to Highway 62 Africa on Love Bay Radio. It's your girl Patrick, you don't know, here representing. And we're here with who?
Me?
Yeah.
Sorry. My name is Ron Malinga. Yeah, I'm a recording artist, and I've been in the music industry probably for over 45 years, doing different things and seeing different people and performing with. Fortunately, I've had the opportunity to play with many award winners. It's been wonderful, and it's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be interested in talking to people like Cathy because I'd love to hear what she has to say about what it's like to be an artist out there. Because she, as you know, she has many songs, really good songs, and I don't want to speak on her behalf, of course, but she's from Africa, and she's done some wonderful things, and it's be interesting to see what it's like for her out there. So, and what it's like in the industry for her, because I noticed that she has other things that she does. I'm looking at notes here that I took that she's doing as well, and I'd be interested in knowing what inspires her to do more than just be a musician. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, we're definitely excited. So if you don't mind, if you wanted to mention a couple of those things, Ron, that you found out about Cathy, that'd be really great. Share with some of our listeners. So when she does come on, we can definitely touch base with her about that as well. That'd be awesome.
Well, one of the things is that I've noticed it says she's also a digital media consultant.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd like to know what that is.
I like that.
Yeah, is that what you do as well, Petra?
Well, I do. Yeah, I do digital marketing. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Well, she's a digital media consultant, so
I love that.
I'd like to know what that means.
I told you, Cathy is my sister from another mother, and yeah.
The other thing I noticed is that it says she's a sales executive. I'd like to know. I went on to LinkedIn and I looked up her profile. And she's a sales executive. It says, of course, it says singer-songwriter, which was first and foremost in her life, but it also says digital media consultant, as I mentioned already, and same thing with sales executive. So I'd like to know what else, how she has time, number one, to do those, and what those exactly entail. Are they digital marketing consultant in the music industry only, or are they in the fashion industry also, like I know somebody else is? So what does that entail? So that's what I'm interested in knowing about Cathy, and when she comes with us, and I see Petra's looks like she's off. So it'd be interesting to see because she has done a lot of recording with many artists as well. And the places she's performed at, I mean, she's performed in London, England. She has done a lot of performing with many of her icons and idols as well. So it'd be interesting to see what that's been like for her. Because as you well know, Petra, you went back with us, is that performing, as we've talked already many times, and that is performing as a musician is the way to make your money. You're not going to make much money recording, but you are going to make your most amount of money live performing, which she does, because I went onto YouTube as well and I saw that she has many live performances she does.
She does.
And sorry, Petra, I rubbed this one in with a real band, which is great.
Okay. I have some performances run online with a real band. Okay, yes, I have on multiple occasions.
If anybody does, yeah, I know. I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have. But it would be interesting to see. I'd be interesting also to know what makes her want. When does she? Because this is an interesting topic that you and I talked about. When has it been advantageous to not have that band on stage, and when has it been more advantageous to have a band? And I'm going to guess that to have a live band, if you're in a club or a small venue or something like that, and you're playing at someplace, 100, 200, 300, 400 people or something like that, it's always better to have a band. However, but if you're on TV, like as I was talking about last week about Tyler went on Jimmy Fallon on Tuesday night.
Oh, nice.
And of course, and remember I brought her up last week, and she's
I remember.
Already well, she went on stage, did not have a band, and had a whole bunch of dancers with her instead. Now, I could see a one-shot deal in New York, and then who knows where she was flying to, but maybe she was flying back to South Africa from there, but it made sense. Would you fly in 5 other people with you? But when you could have just done the whole song with one song, makes sense to me to step on stage. To step on stage without a whole band. But then there are many groups that, like Maroon 5 will step on stage and have the whole band with them because it's Maroon 5. It's not just going to have the lead singer for Maroon 5. So there's times and places, and I'd like to know when she finds the right place and time to go with a band and without a band. And how does her band feel about it when she doesn't have, when they're not invited? Just one of those kind of silly questions I would ask. So there's lots of, there's lots going on with her. And she's also written, Cathy has also written for a film as well, a movie. And so I'd be interested in knowing what that was like and whether they approached her or she approached them about it, because that would be interesting to know.
Yeah, well, I think she should be okay, and I think the technical difficulties have been figured out now. So I want to introduce Cathy to the show. So hi, Cathy. Hey, Cathy. Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't hear you guys at all. Yeah, I'm not too sure. So I guess she's here, guys. She's in the chat. So we're going to be communicating with her. And again, we're going to be sorting out some of the technical difficulties. So yeah, just definitely bear with us, so.
I also noticed one of her influences says lovers rock. Now, to me, I hadn't even looked that up because I've never heard of that as a genre or influence before. Lovers rock. I don't know what that is. So I looked it up and it says romantic sounding content. And I thought, okay, so what would that mean? Like who? And then I even had to look up on the playlist somewhere to know what lovers rock is. And I started to get an idea of what it is. And the first song that came on was a Sade song. And I thought, okay, done in reggae style. So it was kind of, it was interesting to hear that genre as to what it was, and it seemed to be fit more into the area of reggae than it did anywhere else. So
because that's my genre, Ron. That's my.
I know it is. I know it is.
Lovers rock, and that's what got me into music. And it was Marcia Griffiths. To me, she's the queen of lovers rock. Oh my gosh, I love her so much.
Is that a genre? Tell us what lovers rock is.
Yeah, it's a genre.
Okay.
It's like the love romantical side of reggae, and it really emerged in the 70s, so 70s, 80s era, and it really is talking about the love side. So to me, I feel as though it's like a mix of Motown with reggae. Oh. So you know how that Motown sound is?
Of course.
That Motown sound mixed with reggae. That is lovers rock.
So then, because I know that, for instance, reggae is often known what I always associate reggae with is I hear a guitar player on the offbeat playing shots, and the bass player who doesn't want to hit, who doesn't hit on beat one, and then the drummer feels like he's sort of in a different world to himself. So it's interesting to see what, what attracts the people to that, and are people still getting, are still people interested in reggae today? That's what I would like to know, because I know that it's difficult in many genres, unless you're hip hop, rock, pop, anything like that. Oh, and if you're into rap, those kinds of genres are very popular. And I know reggae is not all that popular. I'm speaking by myself now. I guess Petra's off. Maybe she's trying to get Cathy on here with us. So I often wonder why people, or how people, if they're still attracted to those genres. We've had this talk before, Petra, you and I, and that is about how popular reggae is, and are you really just dialing into a style that's going to be going, ooh, this is going to be a tough sell? You can speak to this better than I can, I know for sure, Petra. Oh, maybe you have no audio now. I guess I have audio. Do I have audio? I guess I do. I guess people are hearing me. Good. But that's what I wonder about reggae, is I wonder if there's going to ever be a time where it's going to come forth and be right up there. And this is the same thing I often ask about Afrobeat music, because Afrobeat music is, I know it's very popular in Africa, and many people think it's what goes around in the world and it's what's happening. However, if I was in my small town where I live and I was to go down, walk the street and ask people who Burna Boy is, 99% of them would have no clue who Burna Boy was. I could ask the guys in my band who know a lot of music, and they don't have a clue what even Afrobeat music is. So believe it or not. But if I said, hey, let's play some Burna Boy, they'd go, what? Who's Burna Boy? Or if I said, why don't we play some Aristar stuff? And they would go, are you kidding? Or how about, let's do that song Calm Down, which is very popular. And it's, of course, but I kind of go, they sort of look at it and go, I don't know that song. But so it's going to be interesting to see from Cathy her feelings on the popularity outside of her own hometown and her own home country of Kenya, as to how she's going to, how it is, and how she can make a living performing. I don't know if you're with us, Petra, or not. Are you? Looks like your microphone's off. I see. Okay. So yeah, it's going to be. I always like interesting talking to people that have been not out, but are in genres that are a little more difficult to sell. Like, for instance, for years and years and years, and still difficult to sell today, is bebop music and jazz. Jazz has turned more to, I would say, what people are more interested in is modern jazz, like groups like Foreplay. But if you listen to hip hop, I'm gonna mix that up. If you listen to bebop is way out there, like the likes of Charlie Parker and stuff like that. And that genre never really caught on big time. I mean, some of the people who listen to jazz are gonna say, "Oh yeah, of course it was the best ever." But I would beg to differ with that. I mean, sure, if you're into Miles Davis, I love Miles Davis, jazz guy, extraordinary trumpet player. Of course, he's passed away, but yeah, it's just those genres where not everybody's going to be attracted to them because they don't have everything that people like in them. So it'd be interesting to see what Cathy has to say about this. So I don't know what you find, Petra, on that in terms of reggae.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, as I said, Lovers Rock was the sound that got me into reggae music. So, and that is the sound that I would say I sing and Cathy sings. And for me, I feel like I wish it was a bit more defined and separated from commercial reggae, because I feel like reggae in itself has many facets. There's dubstep, there's also one drop, there's conscious, and then you go onto the other side where there's dancehall and what have you. But if we're singing the lovers, and then there's lovers rock as well, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's just, as I said, it's beautiful to break it down like logically. it is, as I said, a combination of reggae mixed with Motown. But again, it has its own sound, and I think when you make a commitment to that genre, I don't think you look at it from the perspective that, oh, is it going to be the biggest genre in the world? You know what I mean? And I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, because it is a great way to look at it. Look at Afrobeat. Afrobeat is huge. It's one of the top selling genres right now. You know what I mean?
In
However,
Africa.
in Africa, yeah, in Africa, yeah, but it's influenced the world. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
we have to really think about it. Okay, how long is this going to last? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Same
Yeah.
with reggae.
Yeah.
Reggae was big for a couple of decades, but it's at the point where I feel like it's actually getting stagnant, and I feel like it was okay. And I think Chronic and like Protege and Lila Ike and Janai did a good job of really just bringing reggae back to really connect with the youth. Coffee, you know. But I think since Coffee, I don't know. I haven't really seen no one else young that's really pushing reggae music. You know what I'm saying? Since Coffee. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I'm going to tell you, as a musician that really examines music a lot, arranging and stuff, music has changed a lot in, I would say, the last 10 to 20 years. I've seen some things that are happening, like, for instance, that I'm not used to seeing. And some fellows in the band and I were talking about this, like, for instance, a section of a song called a bridge. I'm just not hearing those as much anymore. I'm hearing a verse and a chorus, a verse and a chorus, and then a beat of some sort, or a small solo of some sort. But a bridge is just not what happens. I guess a friend of mine was telling me that Quincy Jones, one of the best producers, of course, in the world, said, what makes a song? The bridge. It's what changes the song up so that it kind of goes, oh, it's not predictable anymore.
yeah.
So I'm seeing that in music today that it's, I don't want to say it's bothering me as much as I am just trying to get used to saying writing songs more like that for people who are younger. So it's just, there's so many different facets. And I'll tell you, when it comes to Motown, one of my favorite guys in Motown, you're just going to laugh. You're going to go, who? James Jamerson. James Jamerson was the most well-known bass player in the world at one time. And bass players, who knows bass players, right? But he is so good.
Player.
Yeah, right. From a bass player. Yes, I know. But I'll tell you, what happened was he played so many number one hits, and they weren't just simple bass lines. There's a whole book on him that I have where you look at it and you go and you drop your jaw and you go, how did he play so many notes in that song? Because make the song work and not get in the way of the singers, and he could do it. It was unreal. And Motown to me is a genre. I told somebody the other day, you have to listen to Motown. Motown is one of them with the vocals in them. And I don't know how exactly it started, but from my history classes that I took at university about music, it was the deal that blacks were getting left out of the music scene a lot. Of course, this is when the Beatles were hitting the big time. The Rolling Stones were in there. There was the Who, and there's all these, I'll call it, white groups making it. And many of the people from Motown were or the blacks from Detroit, Chicago areas were going, how are we going to make this industry when there's so many people that we were black and they're not even allowing us in here? So it all started from Detroit. And it's unbelievable. And if you listen to the likes of Motown, like Stevie Wonder was one of the big, but the Jackson 5 were right into the Motown sound. There was just so many groups that were into Motown that were going in the studio in a house. It started in one person's house, and it just worked so well for them because it was all these people that weren't making it anywhere in the world. They couldn't, because there's all these groups, as I mentioned earlier, and they weren't able to make it anywhere. And then you get the groups like the Temptations, the Supremes, and those groups are coming out there and just hitting the mark, and people's eyes are going, oh my goodness, listen to these people. And what I love about Motown so much is the hooks, catchy choruses, the fabulous vocals, the harmonies, and it's just, and the grooves that they had in those songs. I just think about it and I go, man, Motown has got so much feel to it. that I would say it was so much different from the other genres that were, or other styles of music that were going on at the time. I could talk about this forever, as you can tell.
Yeah, well, that's why I make a good team, Ron. But that's what I'm saying. Lovers Rock is the Motown of reggae music. The melodies, the sound, oh, like the compositions. It's just the way it just takes you to a different place. Like my all time favorite Lovers Rock song has to be Dreamland by Marcia Griffiths. And I only found out the other day that that wasn't even an original song. But what Marcy would do, she would take a lot of like Motown songs and she would remake them and re-sing them as Lovers Rock with a reggae influence. So it was Marcia Griffiths that helped me, like, what motivated me to get into music. I love her so much. But Dreamland is that song. And every time I hear that song in particular, it takes me to a dreamland. Like, I'm not here. You know what I'm saying? I'm floating away. Just like Cathy's music, like that new song she has ready. Oh my gosh. Honestly, guys, if you guys are listening in online, you're listening on, you're watching it on the LinkedIn or the Facebook or the YouTube, definitely check out Cathy Matete. You see her name running across the screen at the bottom there. Definitely check it out. Her music, her brand new song, also Killer Keys on the production as well. Definitely check her out. Cathy is a phenomenal artist. So what I want to do at least right now, Ron, because you obviously did some amazing research on Cathy, and we have been going through some technical difficulties. So I'd love for you to actually go through some of the information, some of the research that you gathered on Cathy, and maybe share that with our listeners. And we can also maybe play some music throughout the show, and hopefully we should have a lot by then.
Yeah. One of the things, as I mentioned, she says that one of her biggest influences I've mentioned already is Lovers Rock, and as Petra and I have been talking, it's that romantic sound and content that that makes the sound of Lovers Rock. And really, I would recommend people go out there and listen to this style of genre, because what I did is I heard a very good R&B song, and it was done in a reggae style, and it was a Sade song. And if anybody's listened to Sade in the past, they know for a fact that she is just writes such great music. That's, I'll call it that sexy kind of music. I don't even want to call it, I don't like it that way, but call it romantic music. She is fabulous. Sade is just one of my favorite artists out there. I have so many though. And then they take it and they take the style of that and they put it into more of a reggae feel. And so it's definitely interesting to see, because it's not complicated if you're a musician to play, but what is difficult is the feel of it. The feel of any type of music, to get it right, is always the most difficult part. The other influence she said she has, or on the bio that I read on her, was on what's called roots reggae. Now, Petra, you can probably speak better on this. Roots reggae, I would assume, means the likes of Bob Marley, Ziggy Marley, those kinds of people as well. I'm assuming, and I don't like to make assumptions, but that's where I would call roots reggae to be. I don't know if that's what you'd call it. Would you call it that?
I definitely feel that she has a combination of roots reggae and Lovers Rock in her sound and her music as well, So I love the way she can balance the two. I mean, she has, if you listen to Cathy's music, one thing I love about Cathy's music is that her music all doesn't stay the same, right? I feel like she can take all different sides of reggae and she can really just embrace them, and each song is different. So she'll have one song that will be more Lovers Rock, one song that will be more conscious. She'll have another song that is more roots reggae. So she really, and her voice is like angelic. It's angelic. So, her angelic voice being displayed on the different styles of reggae. Also dub. She has the dub version of her new song ready as well. I think it's amazing. She definitely showcased the different facets of reggae music.
Yeah, the song that caught my attention, nobody's mentioned. I mentioned it earlier. It's called Teacup.
Oh yeah, I started listening to it. Yeah, I love it. It's a really nice, fun song.
What I love about it is the guitar, and it sounds like she's a guitar player. And so I watched the video and I was thinking, this is cool. She's playing guitar, and it's got such a great feel to it. And when I heard that, I went, oh, this is cool. I mean, this isn't even listed in her top songs on, if you listen to any playlists online there. It's not even listed in the top 5, but I went down the list and I started looking up videos, and I went, my goodness, this song is really cool. It's called
Yes, I
Teacup.
think I'm logged
Just,
on now, yeah?
just,
Hey,
just.
Cathy.
Hi, guys.
Oh, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
I can hear her.
I interrupted you there, Ron. Hey, Cathy, how you doing?
I am doing so well. Sorry, I think the connection was very poor. I think the app you're using is a bit too complex for my phone, so I had to use my computer. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Don't worry about it.
I'm
Even though
using
we
my
get to
computer.
see you, even though we get to see you in on the video, at least we get to hear you, so that's fine.
Yeah, my webcam isn't that good. Sorry, guys.
That's okay. So how have you been, Cathy? It's a pleasure to
I
have you
have
back on
been,
Music Africa.
yes. I've been so well. When was the last time you spoke? Has it been a year or?
Yeah, it was last year. It was last year on the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm doing so well. I'm still trying to record music, juggling life in Nairobi, but I'm doing well, thank you.
Okay, that's fantastic, and you're doing it so well. We've been following your work, I've seen all the great music video you've been putting out, the performances. You are doing it all, girl. We're so proud of you. Team Love Bay is here to support you 100%.
Thank you so much. I can feel the love from miles away.
Well, definitely. Fingers crossed we can bring you here to feel the love in Toronto, because Toronto needs to hear Cathy Matete. They need to see Cathy Matete.
Yes, we had this discussion, so I'm definitely looking forward to that because I'm in the tour spirit right now.
Most definitely. Well, don't
Yeah.
worry. We'll definitely keep you posted. So we definitely have a co-host on the show today. We have Ron. So I don't know if you can see us on camera
Yeah.
on the stream. But yeah, Ron, say hi to Cathy.
Hi, Cathy. It's good to hear your voice. And yeah, I've done a whole bunch of research on you and listened to your great music, and looking forward to having a chat with you here. And if we get you on, we'll get you on in terms of visually, but audio is good enough for me. Because it's that voice that of yours that really sticks out on anyways with me. So it's really a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Good to meet and see you too.
Awesome.
Hmm.
And don't let Ron downplay himself either. He's an amazing bass player and also amazing songwriter and producer. And he's
Mm.
produced some amazing music with CJ Johnny and OT. They have a song called Early Morning, and he has so many other songs he's doing with other artists as well. So you definitely check out Ron's music, and you never know, maybe there's a collab there in the future.
No problem. Yeah, I'd love collaborating, so I'll definitely look him up.
Most
Yeah,
definitely.
me
Um,
too. I really like it as well. It's enjoyable. It's I like it because I can say that I'm not the greatest singer in the world. I sing in a band, but I tell you, I'm not going to be your front person ever like you are. And I'd always admired great singers. It's one of the hardest, I will say, of all the musicians in the world to find. Good singers like you and Petra are really, really difficult to find. So.
Hmm. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Awesome. So I'm going to ask a quick question, then I definitely want to pass it on to Ron. But yes, Cathy, just for the listeners, if it's their first time hearing you or hearing about Cathy Matete, if you could just pretty much just share with our listeners who you are and just pretty much what inspired you to get into the music. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me on. So my name is Cathy Matete, and I was born singing. That's what I keep on telling people. And I'm a singer and a songwriter, a recording and performing artist who's based in Nairobi, Kenya. And I love reggae music a lot. I started doing this, let's say, like it's been 10 years now. And, I started out in a band, and, I later, you know, followed my own path, and I started doing it on my own about 4 or 5 years ago, and I am happy. I'm happy to be sharing the music with the world right now because this is what I was born to do.
Mhm. Most
Can I
definitely.
ask? You just said something that caught my attention. What does doing it on your own mean? What does that mean?
So it means that I'm definitely in a team. I cannot
Hmm.
not say that, but I am not under anyone, or I am not like a background singer. I'm not in the background. It means that I am, an independent artist, and I am pushing my own music and nobody else's music.
Right. So I noticed that I did some homework here, and it says on LinkedIn that you went to university. Was this for music as well? That you went to a university for?
Oh, no, 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 no. I did international relations in university, so I haven't studied music at all.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it also noticed that it said you're a digital media consultant, and for those of us, I know Petra knows what this is, but for those of us that don't really deal with that kind of area. What does a digital media consultant mean that you do as well on the side? This is a something beyond being a singer and songwriter.
Yeah. So this is basically like, we're living in a very digital age right now. So it's
Mm-hmm.
basically I'm responsible for creating and executing digital marketing strategies for clients, to develop like plans, and like incorporate like various forms of digital media, including social media, websites, blogs, email campaigns, and all that. That's the space we're in right now. So basically a lot of duties, but just sum it up by executing digital media strategies.
Is this because then you're finding that music isn't making you enough money yet, or isn't paying for the bills? I know I found this was the case. Always isn't very difficult. So is this because you took this on? It also says you're also a sales executive. So I'm wondering, is this all stuff you take on because that music isn't, as I say, paying the bills yet, or is it a love that you have for these things, or what is it that inspires you also to take on other things, other projects, other than just music?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say music is expensive in itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still trying to make my own money as I make my way up there. Because we're trying to, pay for studio time. We're trying to do videos. We're trying to, publicize our music. So I definitely need the money to push myself there. So music hasn't really started paying me yet. So that's why I have to work on the side to make sure I have the money to, spend on my music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Most
makes sense.
definitely. Well, I definitely want to say, Kathy, I definitely commend your efforts, and I can totally relate, girl. Because just like you, I also do digital marketing as well. Also a
Oh,
reggae artist, you know what I mean? Just like you. And I totally agree with you. Yeah, like I'm also doing it independently, and I feel like it empowers you to know that not only can you make amazing music, but you also know how to get that music out there to the rest of the world. You also
mm-hmm.
not only through helping people through your music, you get to also help people in your daily life too as well. And I'm sure you've learned so many amazing skills from being a digital media strategist that you've implemented into your music. Could you expand on that a little bit, maybe?
Sorry, what's that?
I said, could you expand on that a little bit? Some of the comments I just mentioned in relation to the fact that you can use, or maybe you have, or maybe you do. I'm asking you a question and also making a statement. Whether you use the skills that you've acquired as a digital media strategist, have you used those skills to implement into your music career? And if so, in what ways?
First of all, I'd like to say, like, it's completely accurate to state that, it's very costly,
Mm,
and a fairly significant amount of money is being taken to produce and release music.
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
music is a business, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
really trying my best to see how I can sponsor, some of my videos online, and just try and push the music.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
using this social media strategies that are out there. Like, I'm always working with my manager to, make sure that my Facebook is on point, my
Exactly.
Instagram is on point, see how I can do like very proper reels right now because like
Mm-hmm.
everyone wants visuals.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Like when I go out on shows, I try to, take as much videos as I can because people also want to see that. People also want to be engaged. Like you wanna engage your audience in a way. So that is the only way you can do that now because the space is out there. So why not use it?
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
would you say that, and that's amazing, and I love that, and I'm on these social media, like I follow you, girl, so and I see the places you travel to and you show. I love it. I'm a Cathy Matete fan. I wanted to say, I think it's amazing that you've used the skills that you've acquired, like into your craft. So, would you say by acquiring skills as a digital marketing strategist it's made you a better artist, would you say? Or would you say present allows you to present yourself as a better artist? Which one of those did you say is true?
Oh, it definitely allows me to, like, makes me look, like a serious person, like a serious artist. So
Mm,
it's definitely, creating this perception about, this artist and, my work. And so it's definitely helped me in a good way.
hmm. Most definitely.
Yeah.
One more question before I pass it on to Ron, because yeah, I could ask you so many questions, girl. Honestly, I'm so inspired.
Hmm.
Um, would you say now, because that blueprint that you're following is very similar to the blueprint that I'm following based upon some of the things that you've mentioned, because me, I've been doing reggae for a long time. And then like I got also a junior nomination, which I'm very happy about, like a lot more people know me. However, I felt that to make the kind of music to make the kind of money that I want from the music, I may not be at that point right now. So I looked at what other skills could I acquire that could support my career. And at the same time, what would be a good way to get myself out there as an artist, And
Mm.
and in and then embarking upon that digital marketing journey has allowed me to realize I can help others through that craft. So I'm so empowered and inspired. My question to you is, do you feel that this is now a model that a lot of independent artists are going to have to follow or should follow in order for them to have a successful career? Because there's so many independent artists out there that are struggling, that are not making the money from their music and don't know how to really market themselves, but they do adopt an approach similar to this strategy. It will allow them to make money while they are pursuing their music and to also market themselves. Would you say this is a model that a lot of other independent artists should adopt, or do you think it's just based upon an individual's experience?
So yeah, so if you're definitely an independent artist, it means like you have to put in twice the work.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, make sure you write like a very compelling song, but with a good team, they will definitely let you know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, making sure you write, a compelling song, making sure you perform some of the songs, in shows, in concerts, or whatever, and making sure, you just create like good visual art and design that mirrors your intentions, to your
Mm-hmm.
audience,
Mm-hmm.
and make sure you just promote your music. Otherwise, like guys are not gonna know, who you are. Like it's different from somebody who's signed to a label, and
Mm-hmm.
they just have to do the writing. But when it comes to distributing the music, like somebody else handles that, and it's done so well that.
Exactly.
But when it comes to you, like you have to do the follow up on your own because like you're
Mm-hmm.
doing it on your own. So it's definitely twice or twice the work, and this is the model that should be used by anybody who wants to pursue this path.
Most definitely. I totally agree with you. And I've seen that model be I don't want to say, like, I've seen that model by used by a lot of other musical influencers
Mm,
that like teach these skills to others in the music industry too. But I realized, like you said, it is a model that a lot of people are following, that's allowing them to be independent artists and to generate the revenue they need to have a successful career. But it's like, I think so many artists, even independent, are looking at the big boys. They're looking at like the major labels, looking at the lifestyle and the money and how they've managed to attain success. And it's like, in our mind, we feel like that's the only way to be a successful artist. But you can be a successful independent artist. It's just, they're not going to tell you how to do it. You kind of have to seek it out, and you have to
Yeah.
kind of structure it in your own way. You know what I mean? Yeah, most definitely. So
Yeah.
yeah, Ron, definitely. Did you want to jump in as
No,
well?
sure. Now, Cathy, you know, the two areas that I find for independent artists that I can speak on this because I know this one, and that is of course the distribution and marketing. And how have you found that the best way to deal with this is it put it in somebody else's hands, to take upon yourself as a musician who's playing live, who's also recording, who's trying to get her stuff out there? Are you putting this in somebody else's hands? Are you taking this all on yourself? Because that's a lot of work, as you would probably well know. I know this as well. So how are you dealing with it?
Yeah. I'll just shout out my manager who's definitely tuned in.
Big
You
up
know,
manager.
yeah, his name is Majestic Trends. He's one of the biggest, reggae A&Rs in Africa right now, and he's really been pushing me a lot in my journey as an artist. And he definitely shares with me the ropes of how to distribute the music, but he usually handles that part, and he does it so well because he does all the following up, and he's the one who requests for like the split sheets and all. So he handles that so well, and I usually just leave that to him, and he leaves the creating process to me. So yeah, so it's like a very dynamic duo right here.
Hmm. When it comes to writing, I always like to ask people about this because we all have different ways about doing this. Do you find that when you're writing new songs, you're sitting down there like I do? I sit there and I have a blank piece of paper in front of me. What approach do you take? Do you start writing the words first? I mean, I know there's all different kinds of ways. There's no right or wrongs to this. Do you take? I've done it. Take the words first. Take the beat first. Take a melody first. Take a guitar first. I love what you do in, for instance, Teacup. I just that's so cool. I don't know if that's you playing guitar in it, but it's so cool. So what approach do you take? And there's I know we all do it differently at different times. So what do you find works best for you when it comes to the songwriting part of it?
Yeah, so I sometimes it depends on if I am working directly with a producer in studio and we're trying to create something from scratch, or I get a track and I have to create something from that. But I like feeling the track first, and I let the track speak to me. And what I mean by that is, I I start with like a title or a concept, that I'm thinking about, and what the track is trying to tell me, and then I try and come up with a melody. I'm a melody person. I love melodies, and I try as much as possible to come up with a chorus first, and then after that I fill it out with verses.
It's
So, yeah, sometimes what I do is like I write like a short version of an event, then I see how I can organize it, with some rhythm and some melody. So that's usually the process. So letting the track speak to me and then coming up with a melody and then walking around the neighborhood trying to come up with a chorus and then building on that.
yeah, it's interesting when it comes to choruses. I speak to this a lot to different artists. I find that that's one of the most important part of the song, and getting that hook, as we call it. That's
Yeah.
going to I call it a hook because or catchy chorus, or whichever term you wish to use. Um, you ever find that you get that first, or you get the verses first? Sounds like you go more on the getting that chorus first. And I've had so many artists that send me songs and they don't even have a chorus in it. It goes from one end to the other like one long piece of poetry, and I go next. So how do you approach that? Because I know that any song that if you want to have a big hit, is going to have that in it. It's impossible to almost do it. I mean, even Bob Dylan, who's known as being one of the biggest and most well-known songwriters in the world when it comes to his poetic versing. How do you go about approaching that chorus and making sure that people are going to go, okay, at least I can snap my fingers to this, or I remember it right now because, man, you've sung it twice and I know already this song.
Hello, hi, Ron. Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you repeat that? I think I
Sure.
lost you.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to getting that catchy chorus, because I find, of course, that's the most important part of a song. If you don't have that, the song is going to bomb. Because even Bob Dylan, as I was mentioning before, is just now that poetic verse is unbelievable, but he still has that catchy chorus. So what do you find gets what gets you into getting that happening so that you've got something that people are going to go, okay, now I know this right now, like Cup of Tea did to me.
Oh yeah. So it definitely has to be something catchy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like like let's start with like an opening line first. Like, is the song gonna make you jump when you hear the first line? You know, and
Mm-hmm.
then like now coming up to the chorus and rising above, like coming to the chorus now, like, does it sound, is it something that sounds unique? Is it something that is compelling enough to the to your audience? And then it has to be, you have to put some repetition in your chorus. You have to put
Mm-hmm.
like something simple. It's only simple stupid, as they say. So
Mm-hmm.
just something that is compelling, something that is, repetitive, something that has a nice melody, or a catchy phrase that somebody's gonna sing along to and remember. So it's basically, it's just like very little things that make a chorus stand out, or basically the entire song stand out. So you're also not looking for something that is very wordy and with a lot of syllables. So yeah, you look at a lot of things.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
this.
So
I know
also
this is a
no,
song.
yeah,
Go ahead.
mhm. Yeah,
Also,
like
what?
you're looking at, like notes, using like higher notes or lower notes.
Um,
I think
what?
you might understand because you're a musician.
Mhm. Well, I find that so often singers during that chorus will almost sing an octave higher than they did in the verse and the pre-chorus, or they'll be
Yeah.
starting to build up to the pre-chorus, and then you come into that chorus, and it's like that's the highest part of the song. It has to be.
Hmm.
It's going to be the part that comes out. And I just find that so many songwriters aren't doing that enough. The good ones
Yeah.
are, and that's why they're so good. Do you find
Mm.
curiosity? You mentioned it. You made it sound like you go into the studio and the song's already there. You just have to come up with the melody. Is that true, or do you ever write them yourself from scratch? That's what I do. I write them from scratch. So how what approach do you take when it comes to actually the song? Or do you just go, oh my, the producer found this song for me and he thinks it'd be really good for me? How do you do that?
Um, I I write my own music,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't so actually my manager and I were talking about this the other day. Like, I feel like I am at that point where I wanna, you know, be in a studio with like a really good producer who understands my sound and understands my voice, and we can create something from scratch, because I feel like there's something there. But when it comes to tracks that I receive from producers, I just I write them from the heart. and I listen. It's like I'm saying, like I listen. I have to listen to what the track is saying. Like it has to speak to me first before I even jump onto it. But it's definitely from scratch with the lyrics. If I have the track, and then if I'm in a studio with the producer, then definitely it can be a co-writing session, um, which can be something very very interesting that I haven't experienced yet, that I'm definitely looking forward to.
Most definitely. Well, thank you so much, Cathy. And yeah, we're getting towards the end of the show. But I do want to ask
Mm.
you a final question. Can you just share with us what inspired your new song, Ready? I love that song. That song is on repeat. Just the opening line, like, oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
So if you could just talk a little bit about the song, what inspired you to write it, and also, yeah, just talk a little bit about the song. And then let everybody know about Cathy Matete, where they can find you, where they can hear you, where they can get the music.
I'd like to know the website too, because I couldn't find a website. So yeah, if you could tell us about that too. Go ahead.
Yes, yes, yes. So ready, ready, ready. Can I just say that this song was written during COVID?
Oh
That's
wow,
okay. Yeah, sure.
amazing,
Yeah,
beautiful
and
song,
I'm
girl.
like, I keep on telling people like, COVID like had the best songs, and
Mm,
because like people were, had time with themselves, like we were
it's
so
true.
calm, we were not thinking about anything else, but like
Hmm.
everything was written with so much introspection. So I wrote this song in 2020, I think towards the end of the year, and it was such a blessing to work with Killer Keys. He's a Brazilian producer based in Australia, and we
Mhm.
just met online, and he loved my voice, he loved my sound, and he was like, "Why don't you jump on this?" And I was like, "Definitely." I had to take some time on it because the rhythm is very very heavy, and
Mm.
so it had to speak to me. So I like taking my time on such tracks,
Mhm.
and I am a believer, and I love Jesus, and I'm
Yes,
a
we do,
follower of Christ.
girl.
And so Ready is inspired by the second coming of Christ, and I was
Beautiful.
like, I want him to find me. I want him to find me ready.
Wow.
I want him to find me prepared. With with like what I'm basically saying is, may my life reflect who you are, and when you're coming the second time, may you find me prepared and ready, to take me with you. It's a pretty heavy song.
Beautiful song, girl. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so that's basically the message behind it.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
because
then,
nobody,
so go
right?
ahead.
Yeah, nobody knows the hour, and so we always have to be ready.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it doesn't surprise me that it was written during COVID because so many people, like you mentioned, were not out doing their live performances. They couldn't get
Right.
out, so many people were housebound, so to speak. So it makes
Mm-hmm.
sense that a lot of people have said the same thing. Their
Yeah.
best material was written in COVID because they had the most
Right.
time to
Right.
themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I
Most
agree.
definitely.
Hmm.
Well, we know that you're ready, Cathy. We're ready. You know, the world needs to be ready for Cathy Matete to take
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Website?
And Team Love Base here to support you, girl. And yeah, so where can the listeners find you? Where can they
Hmm.
see Cathy Matete music, the website, Instagram, social media, all of that, girl.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I'm currently on social media. On my handles are Cathy Matete on Instagram, Facebook. We have X, the former Twitter, and then I'm also on YouTube as Cathy Matete. And I am working on my website, guys. It's not
Okay.
out yet.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, it's still in the pipeline, but it's definitely gonna be ready in the coming year.
Okay.
And yeah, guys can expect a lot of music and a lot of buzzing for myself this coming 2024.
Woo!
Mm.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, they let's let them be ready.
most definitely. And also to shout as well your digital media company as well. So let them know as well if they're in the area, they want to help with their business. Like where can they get in touch with you for that as well?
Yeah, for that, guys can consult me directly. Right now, I'm basically into consultancy more, so guys can send me messages on either on the platforms or on my email address at Cathy Matete Music, and I will be sure to get back to you. But right now, I'm working with with an irrigation company. I'm also consulting for them. So the company is called Grecon Limited. It's an irrigation company.
So repeat that. Sorry, you couldn't hear that.
It's Grecon, Grekon.
Okay, perfect. So yes, guys, you guys know we had Cathy Matete on, the wonderful Cathy Matete, voice like an angel. Definitely check out Ready. Oh my gosh, Killer Keys on the production. Look out for all the amazing, wonderful things she has coming out in 2024. We are so excited, guys. Ron, any last words?
I just say it's been a real pleasure, absolutely, to have you on and hear what you had to say. I always like to hear what the musician side of people have to say, and you've answered the questions really well. So I say thank you and all the best to you, and your future endeavors. I think it's great. It's wonderful to see singers doing what you're doing like you are. So it's absolutely a pleasure. So all the best to you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, awesome. So remember, guys, you can find us here every single Saturday, Highway 6 to Africa on Love Bay Radio, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. every single Saturday. It's me, your girl Petra, representing. I know no TYB today. I know it's a little bit sad. We had to give him a day off. Make him look. So we'll see if we can drag him in next week, but we'll see. But it's been a pleasure to have Ron. Ron, thank you so much for being my guest host as well. It's been amazing. Cathy, much love, respect, and support to you, sis. We can't wait to be in Toronto with us, and all the best for your career. And yes, Love Bay family, lots of love going out to you guys. See you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.